Thank you so much for coming out today, and I'm honored that we are part of a very important panel during the day today. It's all about leveraging and collaboration. Dr. Neva and I are good friends, and I came to her conference last year and was just very impressed by everything that she's doing, and I'm honored to be here today and moderating this beautiful panel. My name is Adrienne Garland, and I have a company called She Leads Media. And She Leads Media is a marketing consulting company. I also produce events for women entrepreneurs and leaders. I've done that every year since 2013, and about 250 and 300 people attend that conference every year. I also put on some smaller events, and I take women on international business trips. My whole entire mission for She Leads is to help women to get their voices, stories, thoughts out into the world, because we need to hear that. It is very unbalanced right now, and so, through all of the work that I do, I help women to get everything out there. I also do a Pitch the Media event where I help women to refine their pitch so that they can pitch to the media, so that the media covers them, which is an excellent way to amplify your message, whether it's personal or through business. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. We have a very impressive panel here today, and I'm so happy to have a conversation with everybody. One of the things that She Leads does is we offer super practical advice, so we're not just talking about inspiration here, we're talking about things that you can practically do in order to take your business or yourself or your leadership to the next level. So on the end, we have Carla Hamilton, who's the co-op director of the Frank G. Zarb Business School here at Hofstra. We have Dr. Cynthia Ashley, and she is the CEO of Total Faith Network. And to my right here is Victoria Schnetz Eunice, who is the president and CEO of...
Oh, my son now has the title of CEO. He took it away. He said, Mom,
you gave it to him.
Can I be the CEO?
So of Schnetz Communication. So I'm just going to pass the mic on to Victoria, and what we're going to do is introduce ourselves, and a little twist on the introduction is I'm going to have everybody tell the audience one little thing about themselves that might not be apparent.
Uh-oh.
Well, hi everybody. First, I must thank Dr. Neva. You are amazing. She deserves a huge round of applause. Oh my God. You have brought together such extraordinary women, and I feel privileged to be in this room today. And it all started, I will share, not everybody knows, but I did have 4 children, and my firstborn daughter turned blue in the nursery. And because of that, she was brain damaged and was 3 months old developmentally her whole life. But Lara took me on a path that no other human being could ever have imagined. Because of Lara's needs, I found a place on Staten Island called Willowbrook. And if some of you are old enough to remember, that was a facility for children with disabilities and adults. They had just built an infant rehabilitation center, and with a lot of trepidation, I brought Lara there in 1970. And I lived in Bayside amongst wonderful women, and they said, Vicki, there but for the grace of God go I. How can we help you? And we started the Women's Organization for Retarded Children. And that group sent busloads of volunteers every weekend to Willowbrook. But within a year, the budget was slashed, and children were dying. And my lovely ladies and I became marchers and pictors. And some people don't know that about me and my journey, and Geraldo Rivera, who used me as the model mother, and it's because of Geraldo's coverage and the power of the press that ultimately resulted in a powerful class action lawsuit that changed forever the lives of children with disabilities, because of all the group homes you see today, all the day programs for children with disabilities and autism came out of that Willowbrook class action lawsuit. So I talked a lot, I know, but nobody really knows that about me. They think it's just another pretty face.
That too. Yes.
Hello, everyone. Greetings. First, I want to again acknowledge Neva, Dr. Alexander. Thank you for being you. Okay? You're a fabulous human being, an awesome woman, and I have nothing but respect for you. And with that said, thank you all for the opportunity to be here to share on this platform with these awesome women. I'm privileged and humbled to be here with you. I'm Cynthia Ashley, Dr. Cynthia Ashley. I am the president of Total Faith Network, television and media enterprises, and I'm also the chairwoman for Restoring Our Community Media and Arts Network Foundation. And what we do, we actually empower people to win. Why? Because every one of us, every one of you has a winner inside of you. And I do it through communications, and I use media as that platform of communications, and television in particular. But all media influences people. And that's why I engage media, because media is an influencer. And that's why the world is in such an uproar, because of mainstream media, the big six corporations, as we know them, who have actually dulled down, dumbed down, desensitized everyone's lives that watch programming on television. And that's my goal. My goal is to counteract that. And that is to empower people through positive images, especially for females, and particularly females of color. And because of that, I'm here today by Neva inviting me, and I'm here to say it's about building self-esteem, self-identity, self-awareness, and self-respect.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I want to echo what everybody else has said this afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Neva, for putting together an amazing event. I participated in this event last year. Dr. Neva and I had the opportunity to meet at the Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce event, and ever since then we've become very close, very good friends, collaborated together on many occasions, and so thank you for having me as part of the panel. How many of us women in this room right now are here in 2 and 3 other places at the same time? Yes. The reason I say that is Dr. Neva had mentioned that I'm on a little bit of a time constraint. Today happens not only to be St. Patrick's Day, but it's also the same day as my daughter's junior prom. So right now she's getting her hair done, but what went from having just a few friends coming over before the prom is now turned out to be 35 friends and family coming over to my house before prom to take pictures. So needless to say, I'm trying to figure out a way I can clone myself. But it seems to be kind of what us women do. We tend to never say no, and we tend to split ourselves in so many different directions. Right now, I just started a new position over here at Hofstra University, so welcome to my home. I am also a Hofstra alumni, so everything somehow always comes full circle. I'm very excited about the opportunity that I'm doing right now. I have been hired as the director of an MBA co-op program. And for those of you that don't know what a co-op program is, I'm very familiar with an internship. But what a co-op is actually it's giving students the opportunity to do anywhere from a 4 to 8 month internship within a company in their field. So this way these students actually will graduate with some real life work experience. So something that I wish I had when I was their age. So I'm actually very excited that after all these years of building up my network, I could actually now go out there and talk to everybody about trying to really build up the next generation, especially if female business women. I guess something that people don't know about me, I guess, or if they know me, they know me. As I said, I have a daughter, 17, and I have a son that's 19. My son is 6'2", going on 6'3", and my daughter is 5'10". So people never understand how somebody barely over 5 feet tall could have given birth to two very tall, wonderful, beautiful, healthy children. But thank you.
Okay, so the theme of this panel is leveraging and collaboration, and we're going to just dive right into that. Sometimes collaborating and just approaching people to collaborate can be intimidating, yeah? Okay. So what I'd like to ask the panel is tell us about a time that you were, forced or maybe, encouraged to collaborate with either a group or a person that was unfamiliar to you. And how did you make that work?
Well, it really is how I started my career. Because of Geraldo Rivera, I saw the power of the press. And I put in the back of my head this idea of being in the news business. My master's degree was in teaching. And this, by the way, where I am today is my 7th career. That's the average. Right. And I met this, I wanted to be in the news business. And I met this man who was a political editor of the Daily News. And I went to him and I said, in my neighborhood, everything went co-op in 1985. Do you think we could start a newspaper together? And I had no news experience except being on TV and being interviewed. That was my extent. But being a teacher, how many of you are teachers in this room? Well, every hand should go up. Because you know what? Every mother is a teacher. And so the collaboration with John Toscano, who was an old newspaper man, took a buyout. I started working for him for $100 a week as a reporter, as a photographer, helped him find routes. And then he said, Vicki, can you help me sell some ads? And that's how I started in the news business, by collaborating with John. Then I bought him out.
I can venture back to 1997 when I had this vision to produce television shows and to be the executive producer of programs and to be someone that would be producing events, if you will. And so I set out on this vision, but first, only after I prayed. Let me tell you, prayer works. Truly. And I sat at my kitchen table, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to fast forward it because I know for the sake of time, I sat at my kitchen table living in the projects. And I cried, and I said, oh God, what do you want me to do? I know I want to do programming, I want to produce shows, but I don't even know where to begin. So my first collaborative effort was with God sending me to the Christian Times newspaper. And in that paper, I was led, boom, call town hall and ask them if you can interview Helen Baylor, Alvin Slaughter, J.C. Velasquez, and Alvin and Valerie Boyd. And I was like, just like that, in my mind, prayer, relationship. I called, and sure enough, I get the woman. And the woman is Christine Bender. Her father's a big bishop in the Bronx. I didn't know that. She was the person that Town Hall was in touch with through BBC, British Broadcasting Company, and they in turn she in turn told me that she was just the one that was coordinating for Roy Francis. Roy Francis Production is a big conglomerate now after leaving BBC. And so she said, listen, I'll get in touch with him and let's see what he says. Because I made that call. I would like to do some interviews, backstage, whatever. And sure enough, I got the call. Fast forward, he said yes. Now I have no cameras. I have nothing except the vision. But I had prayer again. And I called a woman by the name of Apostle Lydia Soley. And I'm just sharing right now. And when I called her, I didn't know her, but she's on Brick. You know Brick? You have a show there. Beautiful. Community media is important. Voice. And Dr. Neva does too. Anyway, I call her. She says, don't worry about it. God will provide. Call this number. See if they... And sure enough, the gentleman came. We made we got to town hall. We did a makeshift in the back of the theater, waited for everyone to come. And I interviewed Helen Baylor. I interviewed Alvin Slaughter. I interviewed J.C. Velasquez and Valerie Boyd. I mean, it was just amazing. So what happened after that? The collaboration with Roy Francis, right, who later left BBC and started his own Roy Francis Production. So I became the United States, or if you want to call, the States tour agent for his company to bring artists over to Europe. Need I say more?
It's kind of hard to trump that. I guess I'm going to go back to when I first started my career. I'm going to age myself a little bit. So I started as an intern with Long Island Lighting Company. And while I was there, after my second year, there was an opening for an account executive position. And at first I wasn't really sure of myself and if I could do it, but then I was like, you know what? I could do it. And there were two groups of customers that I could have been an account executive for. One were the school districts, and the other one were the water companies that were here on Long Island. And lo and behold, I was lucky enough to end up with the water companies. Now, if you can imagine working for a utility and looking like I do, now all of a sudden I have to go in and represent the utility to all the water companies on Long Island. Very male-dominated. So now this little tiny blonde girl comes into the first water conference and basically tells them, I'm going to be the one that's going to talk to you about your motors and variable speed drives and so forth. They all looked around to see if there was a camera, to see if maybe they were being punked. But after about the first month or so, being able to build up my credibility and doing what we as women do, really being interested in people, and I got to know these men on a personal one-to-one basis. I found out what their birthdays were, you know, how many grandchildren they had, who was adopting a baby. I went on for over 8 years being the account executive for all the water companies on Long Island after I was terrified to actually think that I would be able to do it.
This leads me to a question that I sort of had for last, but I think that it's important to talk about right now, just kind of bringing it back to, okay, these are amazing, inspirational stories, right? But advice for women that may be shy about taking the first step, maybe they're not as bold, maybe you're not as confident, you know, what would be a great piece of advice to all of the women and men, because not every man is confident, what would be your piece of advice how to really push yourself out of your comfort zone and take that first step to say hello to somebody, to ask them for what you want?
Well, since I'm here, first thing I have to say is make good friends like Vera Moore. Vera, thank you, thank you, thank you. I think the advice of finding people who can mentor you, who can introduce you to other people. I call my life a giant spider web because this one connects me to this one, connects me to this one. and staying connected like she did so brilliantly. I'm going back to the offices, I'm making everybody make cards about people's birthdays and anniversaries and knowing about them. And we keep connected. And I think that, I started this Power Women event, and I'm filled with a room of Power Women who we're going to be honoring May 9th as our Power Women. Connecting them and keeping them connected. When they get honored, they get a star pin. And they become a member of our Star Network. And then by being a member of the Star Network, you then get our Star Network email every week where you can talk about what you're doing. Because look, it's all about people and connecting with people and never being afraid to say, can you help me?
That's right. That's right. That's right. I just have to segue or piggyback off of what you just said. Asking for help. That's the first step. It takes confidence. I know. It takes courage to ask for help. I am that I am. I was before, and now I am still again. Here I rise and rise again. Anyhow, listen. I, of all people, I never could imagine that I would even be at Hofstra University to speak on a panel with such powerhouses here, power women. Because if you knew my background, my story, like we all have stories here, but I don't let my misery dictate who I am today. Everything that I had to travel through to get here was all part of the ultimate plan, the greatest ultimate communicator, God, the creator of all creation. This was God's plan for me to go through what I needed to get to where I am. And because of that, I sit here before you telling you that I went from being a teenage pregnant woman, late girl, at 16, 17. My son is 30. He'll be 38. He has 5 children, which makes me 5 grandchildren. My eldest grandchild will be 16, May 17. So what I'm saying to you, my mother, who always told me, Cynthia, you can do anything that you put your mind to. Anything. You can become anything that you put your mind to. And she told me that when I was at the lowest time of my life. I'm talking about the lowest time of my life. So she instilled in me that I could do it. And because of that, Miss Vera, I can sit here and tell any of you that you can do it. All you have to do is take a step out of the boat. They say stay in the boat, don't rock the boat. No, I'm telling you, step out of the boat. You know why? Because God, the creator of all creation, guess what? Will show you where the rocks are. So you can step on every rock.